Well, we'll get to that question in just a moment. But for a city of just 1.5 million people, perhaps there's a more urgent question we need to answer, which is, are there even any decent universities here anyway?
How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, let's start at the University of Adelaide, which is located right on the edge of Adelaide's CBD. And the first thing to say about this university is that the campus is utterly extraordinary. Beautiful parklands, lots of nice spaces for students to be able to get out and study, and located right next to the Torrens River. So if you want to get out and go for a bit of a walk along a very scenic piece of Australian waterway, this is a great place to come and study. The Uni of Adelaide is the #1 ranked institution in South Australia. It's part of the Group of 8 institutions. If you haven't heard of the Group of 8, it's a collective of Australia's top ranking universities, research intensive universities, and essentially the Uni of Adelaide is typically around like 7th or 8th ranked in the Group of 8 institutions. Now, does that mean you should be coming and studying here because this place is the best? Well, of course, it depends. Like, some of the other universities that we're going to visit today actually have areas of strength that outperform the Uni of Adelaide in terms of their individual subject and discipline rankings. But this university has some really incredible strengths. Essentially, the science and engineering disciplines are extraordinarily strong here. AI, computer technology, as well as some of the traditional humanities, things like philosophy, rank incredibly well here at the Uni of Adelaide. It's a comprehensive institution, which means you do have a lot of different choices when it comes to study here. And one of the reasons why I think that comprehensive universities are an advantage, particularly if you're not 100% sure what you want to do with your studies and with your life in general, welcome to the club. The advantage is that you can go and taste test a whole bunch of different discipline areas and different subjects to see if you're interested in them. So what I always recommend is if you're not 100% sure what you want to do, start off by doing a general degree, something like Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and cherry pick as many different types of courses as you can. That's going to help you work out what subjects you're most interested in studying more of. Well, I've been combing through the Australian government data, trying to find areas where the University of Adelaide maybe doesn't perform so well. And actually, I've found a bit of a surprise, which is it actually does really well pretty much across the board. It's never really in the really top tier of institutions when it comes to things like student satisfaction or learner engagement, all of the different criteria that the Australian government measure, but it's almost exclusively above the national average and very often just outside that top tier of institutions. The only thing that I could find that really looked like a bit of a surprise was the fact that graduate starting salaries are below national average. The reason I'd give for that is that, once again, comprehensive institutions tend to teach students from all sorts of different disciplines. So we're not just talking about the top paying disciplines such as engineering or agriculture or computer sciences, but we're also talking about everything else that society needs, the artists, the philosophers, and those sorts of things. So maybe that's impacting the uni in that particular area. When it comes to sport, this is the uni in Adelaide that probably has the very best sporting facilities. And look, overall, I've spent a lot of time in and around this institution over the last 15 years, and it kind of went through a stage where, I've got to say, I was a little bit worried about this institution. Perhaps the leadership wasn't as strong as it could be. It just seemed to have lost its way. However, over the last handful of years, the uni really has been making some amazing strides. I really like the new leadership team here at the Uni of Adelaide. The gentleman who's now the Vice-Chancellor spent a big chunk of years over at the University of Queensland and did extraordinary things at the Uni of Queensland, and he's brought some amazing leaders with him as well. So this is definitely a university to watch.